Hey kiddos, today we're going to be reviewing text structure. Text structure is how an author organizes a text. Most authors do this on purpose in a way that's going to make the best sense for the reader and fit with the information they're trying to share with you. There are 7 main text structures of informational or nonfiction texts. These are compare and contrast, problem and solution, cause and effect, description, sequence or chronological order, logical order, and order of importance. Compare and contrast shows how two things are alike and how they are different. Your keywords would be similar, alike, both, different, unlike, differs, on the other hand. Coffee and tea are similar because they are both hot beverages. Both coffee and tea have caffeine in them. Unlike tea, which is made from leaves, coffee is made from beans. So I am explaining how coffee and tea are alike and different. Now let's try here. When it comes to Christmas trees, there are 2 great options, artificial and real. Some families love their tradition of visiting a Christmas tree farm and picking out the perfect tree. This involves searching among many trees, cutting it down, and driving it home safely on the top of the car. However, some families prefer artificial or fake trees. Some say they are easier to handle and don't cause winter allergies. So on our Venn diagram, they are both used for Christmas, both can decorate. Real trees are picked out at a Christmas tree farm, and they can be cut down and brought home. Artificial trees are bought at the store. They don't affect your allergies, and many people say they are easier to handle. So I've shown how they are similar and how they are different. Next, let's look at problem and solution. This explains a problem or an issue and suggests a possible solution, which might fix it or make it better. Your keywords are problem, difficulty, need, help, solution, solve, fix, and answer. So we could talk about the problem of plastics in the ocean, and we could talk about several ways that we could solve this. We could first explain the problem and how it affects the fish and sea mammals that live in the ocean, how it harms our environment, and then we could explain ways we could reduce our consumption of plastic, how we could buy reusable things instead of throwaway plastics, and also, of course, how we could help keep our beaches clean and pick up trash. Now let's look at another problem and solution text. Real Christmas trees lose their needles. This problem can be solved with a little extra work. After getting your tree and before decorating it, place it in a bucket of water outside. This will help the tree rehydrate. Re means again, and hydrate means water. It's full of water again. So you put the bucket of water under it and it will rehydrate and let the branches settle. Saw off 1 inch or so at the bottom of the tree. This will help it absorb even more water. When you bring it inside, choose a cool spot away from a heater or fireplace. So our problem is that real Christmas trees lose their needles, and that can make a mess, and also it won't look as nice. So we have a couple possible solutions that could help it keep its needles longer. First, you're going to saw off 1 inch from the bottom of the tree. You're going to place the tree in a bucket of water, and you're going to choose a location away from a heater or fireplace. Cause and effect describes how one thing causes something else to happen. Your keywords are cause, because, effect, affect, so, then, since, reason, as a result, and consequently. So let's look at this cause and effect text. In the popular story and song about a special reindeer, Rudolph was born with a glowing red nose. Because of this, all of Santa's other reindeer made fun of him. He was also left out of the group of games. One Christmas Eve, a visit from Santa changed everything. Since the winter weather was really bad, Santa asked Rudolph to lead the sleigh with his bright nose. Rudolph has been in front ever since. So we have a cause. Our cause, the event that caused something else to happen, is that Santa asked Rudolph to lead his sleigh. And the effect of that is that Rudolph became friends and was more accepted by the other reindeer. So Santa asked Rudolph to lead the sleigh, and then other reindeer stopped teasing him about his nose. Now let's look at description. Description is one of the easiest text structures to identify. It describes all about a topic, including many facts. These are all about books, texts about animals, or texts about places. You're going to be able to make a bubble map or main idea chart really easily out of something like this. So let's look at this one about caribou. Caribou are also known as reindeer. They are mammals that live in northern climates such as Alaska, Canada, and Greenland. They are plant eaters or herbivores. Moss and grass are favorite foods of theirs. One interesting characteristic of reindeer is that their antlers are like human fingerprints. No two sets of reindeer antlers are exactly alike. So of course, at the top of our bubble map, we have caribou, which are also called reindeer. Okay, so we're going to have all the different facts about caribou, the descriptions of them in the different bubbles. We could do this with any book about animals. We could do it with a book about places, something that describes the country of Germany, the country of Mexico, or all about Texas. And we can even do this with books describing a science or weather phenomenon, all about different types of weather. Okay, so caribou are also called reindeer, and in our little bubbles surrounding it, we have that they are mammals. They live in Alaska, Canada, and Greenland, and they are herbivores. They eat moss and grass. Now let's look at sequence and chronological order. This encompasses several different types of text. First of all, any story about the life of someone, like a biography or an autobiography, is going to be told in chronological order. Any text about history is going to be told in a chronological order. You will be able to tell because you will see the years in order. Okay, so you would be able to make a timeline of these events. Anything that is a procedure that tells you the steps of doing something, like a science lab or a recipe, that you can say first, second, third, fourth. Instructions on how to put a desk. These are also sequence or chronological order. These words can be used interchangeably, sequence and chronological order. Anything that tells the order that you do things within a day. So if I wrote a text about how I get ready in the morning, what I do first, next, and after, that's also sequence. So your keywords are going to be your numeral words, first, second, third, fourth, fifth, etc. You will also have after, next, then, last, and finally. Or if you see very many time or years. Now, if you see just one time or 1 year, that does not necessarily indicate that it is sequence in chronological order. But if you see multiple years and you notice that they are going in order from earliest to latest, then this is probably a piece that is told in chronological order. Let's look at this example. Building a snowman is a fun winter activity. First, pack enough snow to make 2 large snowballs. One snowball should be a little smaller than the other. Stack the smaller one on top of the snowman's head. Then, place 2 lumps of coal for eyes, a carrot for the nose, and some sticks for arms on top of the snowball. Last, put an old hat on top of its head and an old scarf around its neck. So they give you each of the steps here. We see keywords such as first, then, next, and last. Let's look at this other example of sequence and chronological order. This one is with years. It's written about a historical time. It's the history of decorated Christmas trees. We could make a timeline from this. The first written record of a decorated Christmas tree was in the year 1510. In 1846, the British royal family put up a fancy tree in their castle. Since the royal family was liked so well, everyone wanted to have a tree like they did. After that, Christmas trees were seen everywhere. The first White House tree was in 1853. We can see in this text the years 1510, 1846, and 1853. Those years are in order, and I can put them on a timeline. Next is logical order, which sounds a lot like chronological order, but it's different. Instead of being in chronological order, which chronos means time, it is just in an order that makes sense. Logical means it makes sense. So it tells things in an order that makes sense, or it could be a persuasive argument, and you're telling things in the best order to support a persuasive argument. If it's a persuasive paper, you're going to be using things like evidence, reason, support, in addition, words like that. Here's an example. Did you know the 4 weeks leading up to Christmas are called Advent? The purpose of Advent is to prepare for Christmas. Many people have Advent calendars featuring a nativity or other Christmas scenes. Many Advent calendars have windows that are open each day. Some Advents even have little gifts in each day. In addition to Advent calendars, some people light Advent candles. This is told in an order that makes sense. It's not necessarily chronological order, not steps on how you set up an Advent calendar or make one, not steps on how you open it. It is just told in an order that makes sense. Now let's look at order of importance. That lists items from most to least or least to most important, or from best to worst. The easiest example of this is a top 10 list. Any kind of top 10 list, the 10 best movies of 2020, the 10 worst movies of 2020, the 10 best toys to buy for Christmas, or reviews of items. Those are in order of importance. If you look at this is an article about the top 10 things to do in the snow. Now, we don't have a lot of snow here in Texas, but I thought it was pretty interesting. The top 10 things to do in the snow. Number 1 is an ice cube scavenger hunt. They're using colored ice cubes and hiding them in the snow, and the kids have to go find them. Second one is footprint tag. Third, light a fire in the snow. Fourth, a lighted snow angel, and it gives you the steps on how to do it. 5, catching snowflakes. 6, saving snowflakes. 7, snow insulation. 8, a snowball thermometer. 9, snow melting rate. And 10, winter wildlife detectives. So they are the top 10 fun things to do in the snow, according to this website. Thank you so much for reviewing text structure with me, and I hope you have a better understanding.